right, everybody, it's Christmas. You know what that means. You probably don't know what that means because this is the first time that I've done this, but it is time for me to do a presentation over the music that I like this year. I stole this idea from my good friend Andrew and her video on her channel where she went over the music that she listened to this year and what music she liked. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about it's music that I listened to this year, but not necessarily music that was released this year. I've divided things into sections. I've titled this presentation Best Music of the Year 2023 No Contest 100% Correct Objective Fact Only. And I'm High Gus, and this is the presentation. Let's start with songs. These are just songs that, weren't on an album that I'm going to talk about, but would still like to mention, or, they're singles, because if they're singles, they're not on albums, obviously. First, in the top left, we got Whisper, Whisper, Whisper by Azari. This is a Vocaloid song. It's electronic-y, it's catchy, it's Vocaloid, so that's kind of like, little divisive, I guess. But if you like Vocaloid and you like catchy stuff, you will probably like this song, and I listen to this song a lot because it's very catchy. Under that's Where's My Head At by Hunter Gex and Basement Jaxx. This song's actually pretty recent. It came out, I want to say mid-November. Mid-November sounds right. This is a remix of a very old Basement Jaxx song. I think the original song Where's Your Head At came out in like, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass myself in a different way. Instead of guessing and being wrong, I'm just not going to guess and not put in the effort, which, depending on who you ask, is better or worse. Top middle, we got Heartbreaker Club by Tiffy, City Girl, and Hyven. City Girl, specifically the album Sea Girl, is where I get most of my pop from. That's like if I want to listen to pop, I listen to Sea Girl. And this single is more of that. And it's good. It's if this song was on Sea Girl, I'd say it's one of the best songs on that album, which is saying something because I like basically every song on that album. But City Girl's great, and Tiffy's vocals are great, and I don't know what the fuck Hyven does, but the album or the song's good. So thank you, Hyven, whatever you did. We got Black Hole Sun under that by Soundgarden. This is probably the oldest song that I'm going to talk about. I was, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned year that time, so now I'm very obvious that I don't know when it was released. But Black Hole Sun is good and catchy, and I listened to it a lot because the lyrics got stuck in my head because I saw an old person reference it on a Twitch stream. And by old person, I mean someone who's 35, aka someone who was alive when this song came out, which is not me. We got Nakamura, top right, by Lil Uzi Vert. Nakamura is the best song off Pink Tape. I think Pink Tape is a very inconsistent project, but it's got some bangers. One of those is Nakamura. It is kind of carried by its sample in Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance theme. I like Shinsuke Nakamura a lot. He's a very interesting wrestler. I'm not like super into wrestling, but I at least know Shinsuke Nakamura's existence, and I've watched a couple of his matches because he's a very, very interesting performer. So I have a positive association with the sample, so that kind of cheats and makes me like this song more, but I think the song is still good. I think that Uzi does not take away from the sample. I think he adds to it. And I am very happy that he did so, because I'd be pretty mad if he took a Nakamura sample and then made it really bad. He did that with CS on the same album, but I guess I don't care I care less about that song than I do about Nakamura. And then the last one, we got Catacomb Kids by Aesop Rock. I listened to None Shall Pass, the song off of this album, None Shall Pass, but I hadn't listened to the full album, so I listened to the full album this year, and there's like two other good songs besides None Shall Pass, in my opinion. Catacomb Kids is one of them. Great song. Really like it a lot. I don't listen to an incredible amount of hip-hop from that era, and I guess Aesop Rock isn't necessarily like the greatest indication of that era. He's always been a little unique, but the song's really, really good. And if you know who Aesop Rock is, you've probably heard the song, but I'd recommend checking out Aesop Rock if you like hip-hop, because he's been very influential, and this song is very good. Alright, let's do non-2023 stuff first. This is stuff that I listened to for the first time this year, but did not come out this year. it's just albums. I just did the songs there. If I have a specific song I'm going to talk about, I'll talk about it. But let's go ahead with honorable mentions. We got 6 of them here. We got Boneyard, aka Fearmonger, and Fishmonger on the left, both by underscores. Both pretty hyperpop influenced, but I wouldn't go as far as to say they are hyperpop albums. You could probably say that about Fishmonger, but I think there's just enough other interesting stuff going on, though hyperpop is probably the main genre. I'm pretty bad with genres, and you'll probably see as we continue on with this presentation, I'm also pretty rambly when I get to talking about genres, because I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But these albums are really, really good. Like Kinko's Field Trip 2006 on Fishmonger is kind of insane that she was able to make a song like that so early in her career, because it's really good. It's really, really, really good. But Fishmonger has some highs and lows, and Boneyard didn't really get me invested enough to mention it in get a medal placement. But I'd like to mention them because I listen to them a lot, despite not thinking they're like amazing. They're very good though. They're very good. Top middle, we got Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. This is just a hip hop record. Nothing crazy about it. He does some kind of interesting stuff, but it's still pretty mainstream. I just listen to it a lot. I think it's a good album. I think Baby Keem's good enough at his job and is surrounded by a lot of very talented people. Not that he's not talented. I guess that's kind of what I just implied. But I think he's talented, and I think his rapping ability and flow are pretty interesting. And so there's a lot of great songs on this album. Under that, we got Cavetown by Cavetown. This is the first Cavetown project I've listened to. It's good. I don't really know how to describe the genre. I already said I'm bad at that, but pretty good. The Deviltown, the last song of the album in particular, is very good. I'm pretty sure that's not an unpopular opinion. Pretty sure that's a pretty popular opinion, but I like it a lot. Good album, give it a listen. We got I Didn't Mean to Haunt You by Quedeca, top right, which I didn't actually listen to last year like at all, despite hearing about it a lot. I only really listened to it this year because someone said or asked if it was real music, and I said, well, I'd heard that the album was good music, so I went and checked for myself, and I have to say, yes, it's real music. The second half of this album in particular is really good, like Knots and House Settling with Danny Brown and the song with the Sunday Service Choir are all really good. It's kind of crazy that he was able to go from hip hop or YouTube rapper to this. Very excited to see what he's done in the future, and the Scrapyard EPs he put out this year were pretty interesting. Though I will not be mentioning them because they were not good enough. They're good though, and I'm excited to see what he puts out. We got Chroma Velocity by City Girl, which doesn't count as one of the poppy things. Like when I said earlier, when I listen to pop, I go for Sea Girl by City Girl. Chroma Velocity is electronic-y. It's a pretty calm electronic, pretty good background noise. That's where I got most of my listens to it this year, was listening to it at work. But I think it's awesome, and the songs flow together very well, and it's interesting. And I'm looking at the album cover, and I think the album cover looks really cool, but that's not really anything important. Overall, some great honorable mentions. I'm pretty happy with a lot of the music I listened to here. Obviously, I can't talk about all of them. There's a lot more here that I didn't talk about. But there's a lot of new music I listened to here that was really good. Next, we got the honorable-ist mention, which is basically just 4th place, but I have a top 4, and so I have like bronze, silver, gold, and there's not really a 4th medal, so here's the honorable-ist mention. It's Kid A by Radiohead, which is an album I listened to for the first time early this month. I want to say pretty close to December 1st. I listened to this album because of Kid A Amnesia Exhibition. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't think anyone does. It works better in text. But it's basically a walking simulator where you go and listen to portions of Radiohead songs from Kid A and Amnesia. But there is a section of Kid A Amnesia Exhibition that is that instantly, as soon as I got done with the sequence, I'm like, okay, I have to listen to one of these albums now. And I went ahead and listened to Kid A. It's my first Radiohead album, and I was not disappointed. They do some fucking amazing stuff on this album. I get why Radiohead is popular. This is the only Radiohead album I've listened to. I plan on listening to other ones in the future, but I just kept listening to this one and didn't listen to any others because I love this one so much. Idioteque in particular is really good. I listen to that song a lot on repeat because it's interesting. I like the way that, never mind, don't know the name of the lead singer. I love the lyrics on this album, and I think they're all very interesting. How to Disappear Completely is another great song. Optimist? I think it's called Optimist. But he says optimistic in the song. All awesome. It's not an unpopular opinion to say that Kid A is a good album. It's very popular among music nerds, and I don't know if I count as a music nerd, but I listen to a lot of music, and this album is great. Alright, let's go to the bronze medal. We got Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life, another album popular with music nerds. This is a unique album for me. I don't know if I have another album that I've listened to as much as this one that's similar enough. Again, I'm not good with genres, but I'm pretty sure this is what shoegaze is. Maybe post-punk. I don't know the difference. Post-punk, you could say anything as post-punk and I'd believe you. This album's very interesting conceptually, and I like it a lot, but I will be honest, I did cut up this album and listen to it a lot. I basically spent most of my time listening to this album listening to these 5 songs: Holy Fucking Shit 40,000, I Don't Love, Blood Hail Hunter, and The Big Gloom. I didn't listen to the rest of the album very much after like 5 to 10 initial listens. So I guess it's kind of cheating putting it up here, but I feel like it's good enough to mention because Holy Fucking Shit 40,000, holy fucking shit, you know what I mean? Like, amazing. And then like Blood Hail and I Don't Love are very interesting songs, and Hunter and The Big Gloom stay very good for very long. Which, not very many songs are as long as Hunter and The Big Gloom that stay that good. Holy Fucking Shit 40,000 is 6 minutes and 30 seconds long, and I think it's in my top 5 most listened to songs this year. It might be the song I listened to the longest this year, just because it's so long and I listened to it so many times. But I'd give it a listen. It's kind of an interesting project. It's not for everyone, but I see where the fucking Rate Your Music nerds are coming from with this album. It's good. It's good. Thanks for the recommendation, Parker. All right, we have the silver medal, Forever Story by Jid. This is a hip-hop record by Jid, who I hadn't heard of until this year. It's got a lot of personal narrative stuff. I've heard a lot of comparisons to Good Kid, Mad City, or T-Pab. I'm not sure if I completely agree, but I do like the personal narrative concept. I have a sweet spot for personal narratives. If you talk about what you're going through and your thought processes about things, then I will be interested because I like that stuff. I like hearing what people think about. And then on top of that, this album has some bangers. Louder 2's got to be my favorite song on the album. It's amazing production. It's super interesting. The song after it, Louder 2's the penultimate song. The last song is 2007, which I'm not a fan of. But the blow of listening to 2007 is always cushioned by the fact that I just finished listening to Louder 2. What a banger. It's also got some other great songs. Cody Blue 31, very catchy. Radar, Dance Now, Surround Sound. Surround Sound had a resurgence recently, I think. It got really popular on TikTok or something. But what a great hip-hop record. What a great project. You should listen to this if you like hip-hop. I don't know what else to say. You've probably listened to this if you like hip-hop. It came out last August 2022, August 2022. Big fan. Give it a listen. Then the gold medal. This is the one that by far is it's far and away the gold medal, because not only is it the gold medal, but Brockhampton absolutely dominated my summer. Brockhampton is my most listened to artist this year because I found them this year, and so I listened to so many projects. Saturation 3 is my favorite album, but Saturation 1, Saturation 2, and Ginger, this is not Saturation 3, this is Ginger, this is Saturation 3, are all really good, and I listened to them all a lot. I just didn't want to like fill up my honorable mentions with Brockhampton projects. Honestly, if I did more than one album per artist on the main ones, I would probably 3 of the 4, the gold, the bronze, and the honorable mention would be saturation projects. That's just not great, but it's, oh my, I don't know if I have a good way to explain how much I like this album and all of these albums. But I was obsessed with this. Some of it was environmental, like I was working a lot over the summer, so I'd come home and lay in my bed and listen to music for hours, and Brockhampton really, really, really made those nights feel so much better, because the poppy hooks and choruses are so insanely catchy. They know what they're doing. They're so catchy. And then they got like 7 people who all have incredibly interesting flows and takes on how to do verses. And so it's like I just keep getting new stimulus every time. It's baby sensory content in the form of hip hop. And I know that makes it sound like it's bad, but I mean that in a strictly positive way. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. I love this album so much. Please listen to Saturation 3 or any of the other projects. Listen to one of these 4 projects. I haven't even listened to any other Brockhampton project. I've listened to all of these like 400 times. Like, I haven't listened to a full project 400 times. I have like 400 listens on the album. But I plan on sometime in the future listening to other Brockhampton projects and obsessing the same amount, because I don't know, maybe these are the good ones and all the other ones are bad, but holy moly, holy shit, I love these albums. I said this earlier, I'm pretty rambly. I'm not great at describing why I like this shit, but it goes hard and is so catchy, and I think I've obsessed and rambled about this too much. It's very good. Let's go to 2023. This is stuff that came out this year. This is my actual end of the year list. Technically, I guess the other part is a list that I made at the end of the year, but this is the end of the year list with some more interesting stuff. We got less honorable mentions because, you know, less of a time span, but I still got some good ones. I think we got 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex. I think I like 1,000 Gex a little more, but this album's still really good. A lot of cool different genre stuff. I think most of them are pretty cool. The ska one, I'm not super interested in, but all the other ones are great. Dumbest Girl Alive is probably one of the best openers of the year. Very, very good. If you like 100 Gex, you're gonna like 10,000 Gex. My brother's a big fan of this album too, which I'm glad I like it when my brother likes the same stuff as me. Under that, we got Lovely by Cute Girls Doing Cute Things. Listened to a lot of Cute Girls Doing Cute Things 2 semesters ago. Big fan of their electronic stuff, and this is electronic stuff. If you like EDM and you don't want anything crazy, that's what this is. Very catchy, very, very, very hip. That's not the word I'm looking for. Upbeat is the word I'm looking for. Pretty upbeat. It's good if you like electronic music. It's like, doesn't do anything innovative, but it's a good listen, and I listen to it pretty often. We got Underbelly by Kiltro. I'm not sure I like Underbelly as much as I like Creatures of Habit, their previous album. Discord notification, kill yourself. Kiltro does some pretty cool stuff, and even though this album isn't my favorite of theirs, it's good. It's good. It's worth the listen. I like Kiltro, and I like the music that they do. It's I guess I didn't even mention what type of fucking music it is. It's like folk. It's like Latin folk. I don't really listen to very much folk, so that's kind of nice to have it in the mix. If I go back to listen to Kiltro, I'll probably listen to Creatures of Habit, but Underbelly's still good and worth a listen if you like folk. Then there's Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty, which is an interesting addition because I don't think any other Lil Yachty project has been a blip on my radar, because none of them are very good. I don't think any of them are very good. But Let's Start Here is very good. It's a great, just like on its own as a psychedelic rock record, is amazing. Great production, very, very catchy. I groove to this shit, and I am looking forward to the future stuff that he does. I don't think he'll do more of this stuff. He released He released like Strike Holster, which is another hip hop song that's pretty good. But it's kind of crazy that he could switch up and have it be so good. Very, very happy that it happened, because then I got to listen to it, and that was good. All right, we got Scaring the Hose as our 2023 honorable list mention. This is JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, the collab album that people have been waiting for. I'm a big JPEG Mafia fan. And Danny Brown's stuff is pretty good too. I like his stuff, so I was very excited when I heard about this album coming out. It's got some great production, super duper interesting stuff on it that I think they do very well. Both of them, both Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia, have a history of that, so it's nice to see that here. It's a little inconsistent, which is why it's not podiuming for this year. But despite the inconsistency, there's just some great bangers on here. Perfect. The horns on Perfect are amazing. You gotta give Perfect a listen. If you take anything away from this, okay, I don't know about putting this at the top of things you do after watching this video, but you should listen to Perfect. It's very good. Great horns. Love it. Kingdom Hearts Key is also another great song. I think Red Veil, probably, what an amazing feature by Red Veil. Red Veil does some cool stuff, but I think this might have been my introduction to them, and it was a great first impression, because their feature on Kingdom Hearts Key is very good. All right, bronze medal. We got Chaser by Femtonal. This album got in here last minute. I think this is the last thing I listened to that got on this. I started listening to this album 11 days ago. It's the 25th. It's Christmas right now. I started listening to this album on the 14th. It is already after 11 days in my top 5 most listened to albums of the year. This album is so infectious. I listened to it for 9 hours the first 3 days, and haven't really slowed down very much since. My brother really likes the album. That's they got the brother seal of approval. It feels a niche for me, because I don't listen to very much, like, I don't know what the fuck this is, breakcore, digital hardcore, whatever you want to call it. But I don't really have very many of these in the rotation. But now I do. It's also got some pretty, I guess, visceral lyrics. I think that's how I'm describing it. I mentioned earlier how I kind of like it when people talk about perspectives or from their perspectives and stories and stuff. And this isn't necessarily that. It's a little narrative driven, but it's a little more narrative driven than the JID project. In that it does tell stories, kind of. I think I'm looking too deep into the lyrics here. But they're still interesting to me. The lyrics are not very intelligible. I think that's on purpose. But I think they're very interesting. And they are, for a project, that's like fucking digital hardcore and breakcore, they go much harder than you would expect. And so I felt it's important to mention it. I will be continuing to listen to this album. I listened to it a bunch today. I'm going to listen to it a bunch tomorrow. This is the album I am listening to as of right now. This is the stuff I pull up on my phone and listen to on repeat on the way to work now. Listen to this project. It's 6 songs. It's 13 minutes. It's fucking amazing. Silver medal. A Night at the Symphony by Leve and the Icelandic Symphonic Orchestra. It's a live album of a bunch of Leve songs that they did in front of a live audience and posted to YouTube. You can watch them all on YouTube. You can watch the live version, which I think is really cool. All I had to say about this one is it made me ascend to heaven when I listened to this one for the first time. What the fuck? I'm listening to this album for the first time, sitting in my chair, and I just stop everything I'm doing. I don't know what the fuck button I'm pressing. I'm pressing the escape key with this Beanie Baby dog I got. This shit is amazing, and it's kind of weird because Leve released a solo project this year called Bewitched, and it's not on here because this one is, and this one's really good. Also, I didn't like Bewitched very much, but this album is great. I think every single live version of these songs are better than the original, but that's probably because I've listened to these ones a lot, and I really, really like it, and you should listen to this one if you like symphonic stuff, if you like singer-songwriter. Did I say Icelandic Symphonic Orchestra? It's the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra. It says it right there, Camden. It's great. this is like there's not another album that I have like this on the rotation, and I'm very, very, very glad that my friends introduced me to this album because it makes me feel amazing when I listen to this album. Finally, last but not least, we got the album of the year 2023. It is Wall Socket by Underscores by a insanely large margin. You know, that's kind of crazy. Like, even if I was comparing it to albums that I was listening to in previous years, like Saturation 3, nothing comes close to Wall Socket by Underscores, mainly because I have not cried as hard as I did to this album to any other piece of music from anything. There is not, like, there's not even a soundtrack song. Like, some people get emotional when they listen to songs from, like, video games or movies that have, like, emotional scenes attached to them. Nothing like that has gotten close like this fucking album. I can count the number of times I have sobbed this hard on one hand. Most of them are close deaths of people I liked. This is not a close death of people I liked. This is an album. And this fucking album made me cry as hard as I did when my grandmother died. I don't know if I can give any higher praise to this album. There's a bunch of other shit I should talk about, though. The narrative of this album is very interesting. The story is so complete and so intriguing, and of course it's music, so you fill in a lot of the gaps yourself, which might make it cheating. So, like, because I'm filling in the gaps with cool shit in my brain, but I think the story is still very well told and leads you to believe the things that would complete the story. There's like a ARG or something around this that I have not looked into at all, because this album stands on its own and you should listen to this shit. I am currently wearing a Wall Socket shirt. I've been wearing a Wall Socket shirt this whole time because this album is fucking awesome, and this album is now that I have accounted for recency bias, I listened to this album for the first time in October. This is my number one album of all time. My previous number one album, Clipping by Clipping, is very good and was very influential on my music tastes and getting me really into music. I attribute a lot of that to Clipping, but I fucking love it when I cry, when media can make me cry this hard. My favorite TV show is one that made me cry this hard. Now I have my favorite album because it made me cry this hard. I cried to 3 separate songs on this album. The one I sobbed uncontrollably to was Uncanny Long Arms, but I also cried to Good Luck Final Girl and Duh. There's some other songs that I think most people will cry to, like, I think horror movie soundtrack can be a crier. I think that, Jeez Louise can definitely be a crier, but I didn't associate very much with those, though. Again, as previously mentioned with the seeing perspectives and narrative, I like the perspective on Jeez Louise. I like the perspective on horror movie soundtrack. It's very interesting because it's things I'm familiar with, but not particularly involved in directly myself. This album, absolutely fucking astonishing. I regret not being able to go see a show this year, but I had too much school. I really hope I can see Underscores live, because this, I can't find my fucking words. I don't know, man. I don't know how to describe to you how much I fucking love this album, but it's my number one album all time. All time. It's the 2023 gold medalist and my favorite album of all time. Listen to this album, please. I said if you take one thing earlier away and then I took it back, this is the thing that you should take away from this. Listen to this fucking album, please. Don't go in expecting to cry. Just go in expecting bangers, because this album has some great music on it. I guess now I'm thinking about it, I didn't really talk about the great music on this album. I talked about the narrative and me crying, but this album is so good musically. It has so many interesting things and it does them all well. Holy shit, there's one song on this album that I think is maybe not amazing, but every song on this album, but that one song, is like a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much, Underscores. You're fucking amazing. This music is so good. She's so awesome. She's so cool. Alright. Let's I just have these graphs up for like total listens. Like, you see Fimtional getting on here. Fimtional, this Chaser is top 5 albums of the year despite listening for 11 days. But nothing here I didn't mention. I guess I listened to more Uzi Vert than I let on, but I don't think any of his projects are good enough to mention. This video went on longer than I expected. I did expect it to go on pretty long, but I'm pretty rambly. Good year for music. Good year for music. I listened to a lot of music this year. This might be my biggest year for music. I love music so much. It makes me so happy. If there wasn't music, my life would be very depressing. But thank you very much for watching. I doubt very many people got this far, but this is mostly for me in the future. And also, note to future me, there's also another song, a secret song here that I'm not going to mention, but for future me, there's a secret song. Thank you very much, everyone. And have a great rest of the year or whatever the fuck you're doing if years stopped happening.